When it comes to tag team, get with someone where it's a perfect fit.
You look at great tag teams, a lot of them are brothers because they're close. There aren't two brothers that are any closer than me and Ron. They said, we'll just put these two guys together and see what happens.
But they failed to understand that already we have similar backgrounds.
When you went from the Acolytes to the APA, when did you realize you had lightning in a bottle?
It just started working.
The APA gimmick could have lasted forever. Why did it have to come to an end?
It was time for him to go on and do his thing.
Did you know that JBL character was going to take you to that next level?
I knew I was going to have the opportunity because they made the character for Eddie Guerrero, and I just got lucky.
No, he didn't get lucky. He had put his work in.
Your finishers were devastating. Who do you think took the Dominator the best or the worst?
It wasn't a matter of taking it the right way because there ain't no good way.
What was a car ride like with you guys?
Oh my God.
Isn't there a story of you getting left somewhere?
Left in a snowstorm.
Blizzard.
Yeah, we're driving it.
Great to see you guys together, too.
I am right, brother. That's right. Good to be here, man.
I feel like I should have built a door back here, right? Would that have been the smart thing to do?
We're going to give you a pass on this one.
Okay. Appreciate that.
I'll tell you a funny story on the door. They're building the APA set, and they got the door, and Ron goes, that's good. He's got that deep voice, you know, and they go, what do you mean that's good? He said, Ron goes, that's good. And they go, wait, Ron, it's just the door. And he goes, yeah, that's perfect. And they're looking at it going,
right.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? And so they left the
Is
door.
he out of his mind? Yeah.
Yeah. And then they realized this is a pretty freaking cool gimmick. But that was Ron's idea.
Yeah. And it just resonated with the people. And hey, and even now, you know, they still love it. You know?
Was the idea to build out an entire set?
I think they were going to, but when they had the door frame up first, and Ron goes like, that's good. And I'm looking at him going, actually, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And the guy were like sitting there going, I don't know. And then everybody else started thinking this could be pretty funny if they just have a door.
Yeah, and they caught on. They caught on so much, not only just with the guys and girls backstage, but it caught on so much, well, even, you know, people outside of it, the movies and race drives, everybody wanted to be a part just to come there and knock on that door that's not there.
We got all the celebrity integration that came in WWE. They'd come to our table and have to go through our door, you know, and fortunately the guys put it over, The Rock put it over, Undertaker put it over. I mean, the guys put it over. It was really cool.
And did it instantly become a thing of like, all right, if that's going to be our door, you got to walk through, you got to knock on it?
Yeah, pretty quick.
Yeah, quick. You know, very, very, and it didn't take any time to catch on. You know, right. Once, you know, like John says, right, with The Undertaker and Ron coming up, you know, and guys like that coming in, and I might add, who enjoyed doing it, you know, because they thought it was, like you said, was a pretty good idea. And so it quickly caught on, you know, real fast.
When was the first time that you guys met each other?
Oh, shit, we knew about each other before we even, you know, probably got in there because we were football players, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we met each other, God, when I first got up there, 96, was it?
Whenever you first came
in.
96. I got there in late 95.
Yeah, so it's 96.
After. Yeah, we became friends right away. You know, very similar backgrounds, and, you know, football and similar likes and things like that. And so we got along right away. I mean, we rode together way before we were ever tag team partners. That's when they ended up putting us together.
Yeah. Whose idea was it to put you guys together?
Well, like you said, okay, I think you were coming off with Barry, right?
That's right.
Yeah, he was coming off with Barry. And I believe I might have been doing the thing like with Sonny, I believe, right?
That's right.
Coming back out of that and somewhere in between there. So we both already had the similar backgrounds, you know, with each other. But I think more than anything, what resonated with probably Vince and everybody that does the creation of the team, they're like, you know what? Every week we're hearing about these two fools going somewhere.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
We had good time.
It's either
oh my God,
they're about to get in a fight or they've tore up someone's bar or someone is calling here saying we owe money for something. So let's just see what happens if we put them together. You know, and that's basically how that went down, you know? Right. And I really don't think they expected, you know, what really came out of it.
I don't think they did either.
Yeah.
You know, Ron he said when he came with that blue helmet, Stone Cold saw him come in, he goes, the only person that can walk in with that blue helmet and nobody says anything is Ron Simmons. We're all like, that helmet's really bad. Nobody said a word. He's like,
bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad. You know, But what am I gonna say, right? You know when
That's right.
When Vince presented it to me, and look, and
What'd you think?
Oh my God, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm waiting for him to laugh, and say this, I was just kidding you,
Right.
it's a joke, right. So as I was going on looking at it, he started pulling out the diagram. I said, oh my God, he's serious, Jesus. And now I'm sitting there thinking, now what do you do? So my thing is like,
And it wasn't like it was like a real steel helmet. It was like a foam helmet.
No, because in my mind, when he had told me about this Roman soldier and he was building me up, and the more he talked to me about it, right, I mean, I'm getting inspired, because I'm thinking, I see myself, with the shield, and I mean the gold, the silver shining and the helmet gleaming and all that stuff. I'd already pictured everything.
You're thinking Spartacus.
Oh, yes. Real Roman, right? So when they called me up there and says, well, look, we want to go in, we want to get you in there, right, fit you and see what the outfit looks like. I'm like, yes, this is it. Right. I walk in, and the guy that has already did the costume, and I'm looking around, looking for the shining metal.
The armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. All right, bro, where it is? He said, that's it. I said, hang it up over there. And I said, where? He said, right there. I said, you mean that the helmet, the blue one, the leather? He said, yeah, that's it. I said, oh my God. I dropped. Now I'm in a place now where I'm thinking, don't do something stupid, man. Do not call Vince and say, this is not what I had in mind. Now, what do you do now? I said, what do you do now? He says, Ron, you want to try it on? I said, well, yeah. So I tried it on. I said, oh my God, how in the hell am I going to ever go home with this shit and show my wife this shit? Right. So the first time I showed it to her, and when she said, I know you're not going to wear that, are you? That's when I knew it was going to be the shit. Okay, that was the tell sign when she tells you that. Normally she would say, oh, it's okay, honey, just go on out there. No, when she said it was shit, that's when I knew I was going to have a problem.
And the bad part was Vince loved like the Gladiator stuff. He would always talk about the Serengeti and the survival of the fittest and the gladiators and battles and everything. So to Vince, this was probably like, I've got this great guy who's this incredible runner up for the Heisman Trophy, this stud, this first black heavyweight champion. He's going to be a gladiator.
No.
The idea was really good.
Yeah. But when I'm sitting before him, right, and he was still talking to me about it. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, I wanted to say something about it. But every time he asked me about it, I said, I can't wait to do it. I'm telling y'all, this is I can't wait to get into it. Everything was positive, right? Everything he said, I saw, great. I love it. Right. And I'm sitting there in my mind thinking, God, I'm thinking to myself, man, all the people that watch me play football are going to see this shit, all this shit, right? I said, this is going to be terrible. And I said, only way to get out of this is just to make him a kick-ass guy. That was the only way to save it and not comical, and that's the way it had to go. And,
So fair to say they didn't have plans for you guys together at first?
Nah, I don't believe so, man.
No. And I came in, they didn't plan on hiring me. I just come through and I was going to WCW and they found me and they said, hey, we'll sign you. But they didn't have no plans for me, and they put me with Barry and I love Barry Windham, but they didn't really have plans for me and Barry. And so I was just kind of meandering, which I can understand. I can't understand them not having big plans for Ron. They should, good Lord, man.
Especially coming off of what he was doing in WCW.
He's already a legend in the business.
Yeah.
He's the trailblazer. He's our Jackie Robinson. How can you not have plans for Ron? But whatever it was, they said, we're just going to put these two guys together and see what happens.
Yeah, but little to what they didn't understand was this. See, they failed to understand that, all right, already we have similar backgrounds with each other. So that's more than most guys coming into a tag team have in common, period. We're athletes. So football is a wide fraternity. When we meet each other, it's an acceptance thing already, And plus he's gone through similar things in the business that I had, So it was an instant fit for us, right. Yeah. And I don't think they planned on that, didn't think about that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the big things that happened to us was when we were unopposed by WCW. You know, we always wondered, are we drawing a 4.1 and they're drawing a 4.1? Is that really an 8.2 audience, or is that two 4.1s watching both shows?
Sure, flicking back and forth.
Know.
Yeah.
And we went unopposed one weekend when they had a playoff with the NBA or something like that on their Monday night show, and we drew like an 8.1 overall. And we realized that it was a double audience that were watching two different shows. And they put me against Ron in one of the matches, and they didn't even care. We said, "Hey, can we do a promo?" And they go, "Oh yeah, whatever." They didn't even care. I mean, we're taking out part of the match. We're doing a promo on global television.
Yeah.
Nobody even cared to ask what we were going to say or anything. We're talking about drinking beer and fighting and all this crazy stuff. And we get the ratings, and they said, "Do you guys see the ratings?" We did an 8.6 in our segment. It was, at the time, it was one of, if not the highest rated segments of all time with Monday Night Raw. It still is one of the highest of all time. And all of a sudden, people realize, maybe there is something with this team.
Yeah. And I think more than anything too, man, I think it was something, and people don't, we as, wrestlers in this business sometimes don't give the audience and the fans enough credit. You got a lot of people that have been sitting out there watching this business, man, since, kids, since Pop Warner growing up, right? So they're situated to, from seeing things from that standpoint and look on the screen and tell if something's like authentic and this seems to be real from the standpoint. And see, we never tried to go out there and really just put on too much of an act. Basically what they saw from us was real.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. When you went from the Acolytes to the APA, when did you realize you had lightning in a bottle?
Pretty quick. One thing we realized, right away, we started getting over, I think we did, is when, everybody was crowding for the camera. When we're with the Nation, with Darkness, with Undertaker and all the guys, everybody's crowding for the camera. Meanwhile, I thought, why would in the world we fight for the camera? We can stand in the back and be noticed by everybody. We're two pretty big guys at the time. We would just stand at the back and just stand there and let everybody else fight for the camera. And people were starting to notice that these two big guys don't care, which we really didn't.
Yeah.
And then when we got with APA, it started working, and I don't know if we noticed it with the fans right away, but we noticed it with the boys.
Yeah.
The boys will always tell you if something works or not, because they'll tell you how much they like it.
Right.
Because they watch everything. And the boys are a great indicator. And the boys were like, dude, that was funny. That was great. Or that was a lot of fun.
Did you ever have arenas where they would tell you couldn't smoke? Like, because you guys were smoking cigars while you're playing poker, right? Was there ever arenas that were like, I know this is the gimmick, but...
I don't believe we did.
Or if they did, you did it anyway.
I don't think we ever run it.
One of the greatest thing ever, Jack Lanza who was a wonderful human being, an agent. They finally, when they started banning smoking, he'd go to light up a cigarette. Somebody told him he couldn't smoke, and if he thought they were an asshole, Jack would sit there and for the next 2 hours he'd put a cigarette in his mouth and go to light it, and then go to talk to somebody and never light it. And he'd make all these guys be sitting there waiting to write him a ticket. And he just messed with them. I tell you, one time we were at the Staples Center. And they told us a lot of times we did the show earlier in the day, and so we could edit it and make it appear as if it was live. And they go, guys, you got to go live. You got to get this right this time. And I said, why are we about to go live? They go, no, you're slurring your words. we had sat back there and got drunk.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Is that a common occurrence?
It was. We had real. People asked if it was real beer. Yes,
it was real.
Every time?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we had. I didn't even know if they knew what fake, Hollywood beer was at the time. We didn't have OSHA. We didn't have none of that crap.
Yeah.
We had the first ladder matches and stuff. I mean, we didn't stunt coordinators. Guys were just doing stuff and hoping it worked. The first ladder match was Shawn and Razor. I think they had one ladder. If that thing had broke, good Lord, what a disaster that would have been.
Where you go from there, right?
But like when the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian first did that stuff, they didn't know template for it. We had no template for it. I mean, they just, here's some beer, drink beer, and have a bar fight scene. Jeez. I remember one time we're doing a bar fight scene. I've got Bull Buchanan. I'm going to throw him through a wall, and we gimmick the wall. And Bull says, "That's the wrong wall." And I go, "I'm sorry." And we go through a wall. We land in a toilet.
But he did go through it.
He went through it. Yeah.
Right.
We land by a toilet. We went through a wall and went into a bathroom.
which, by the way, was this Timmy's bar?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went through the wrong wall, the one which Timmy did not want torn
That's
down.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Tim would give us a list of stuff he wanted broken.
So we could rebuild it.
Yeah.
When you had those bar fights, did they give you like, all right, you can damage this amount of stuff, but don't go over that? Like our budget for demolition here is $5,000 or whatever.
It was just opposite with Tim Wyatt because he would tell us he had a jukebox that didn't even work. And we threw a guy through the jukebox by Tim's request. He got like a digital jukebox to replace it. He had an analog television that didn't work. He goes, guys, would you guys break my television? He got like a flat screen TV to replace it.
Yeah, we rebuilt his bar, man.
We rebuilt his entire bar.
Yeah.
Vince told us, he goes, I had no idea that I was going to rebuild Tim's entire bar.
Yeah.
So no, we had no parameters of what we could do or what we couldn't do. Only thing Tim would do is he'd tell us what not to break because it was his. So he would put up the good liquor. He'd put up all the good stuff. I mean, it was unbelievable what a scam it was.
Yeah, and by the way, wouldn't even give us
no
a drink.
Wouldn't give us anything free. No.
Right. Yeah. It goes to show you how tight his ass was.
We'd go in. Him and Arnie and Andre used to play cards back in the back room, and he had pictures of Arnie and Andre everywhere. We walk in and Andre's pictures would be back in the back room and me and Ron's be in the front. We're going, dude, you're not fooling us.
Ron, at what point did you know that Damn had gotten over?
Yeah, you know, and everyone think I'm lying when I say this, but when we were working together, right, and I'd pull a muscle or do something, right, or somebody would do something stupid in the ring, and I'd just stand there. Damn, you know, because something that just happened that we didn't agree on or I didn't agree on, right? So the people, and we would go back to the towns each time, right? So the people within like the first 10 rows could hear me, right? They'd just start saying, damn, Ron, hey, Ron, damn. You know, and so I looked at him and I said, hey, man, what the hell are they saying that for? He said, I think you say that when something, you know, screws up. Or something goes wrong. I said, you know what I do? Well, so the writers, they got wind of it, right? And said, look, the next time that, you know, Booker T and John Cena were having an exchange in Chicago, and they said, just walk out there. Just walk out there and just simply say, damn, after they finish with their exchange. And when I did that, the people sat there for a moment, then they just went crazy. And that's when Dan was born. Right
How long after that did you get a t-shirt?
Out, instantly. Right. No, my only thing about that was that if I had known something like that, like 30 years ago, I never would have taken
That's right.
I would have never taken a bump.
That's
I just walked out there and said,
You wrote it for so long, right? Like you could be on the show and you're right. Never work a match, never take a bump.
Yeah.
Pop up, say damn, leave.
Yeah, but it's another reminder, you know, in this business we do, you know, and sometimes it's not about just the word itself, you know, it's in the context and the delivery, you know, and which is done, you know.
I feel like we've got excellent acoustics in here. Maybe you got to give us a really good one here. That's echoing off the back wall.
One of the funniest times he ever had, it wasn't damn, it was stop. It was so funny. We're working with Godfather in some live event, and Ron goes to lock up with Godfather, and Godfather goes and just starts running the ropes, and Ron's looking at him, watching him run the ropes, and I'm on the apron watching, what the world is he doing?
Yeah, we got a good idea why he was running the ropes.
Yeah. So Ron goes to lock up with him again, and Godfather goes to run the ropes again. And we're sitting there watching him. What the hell is he doing? Does he have something in mind? Yeah. So Ron goes to lock up with him again, and he goes to take off again, and Ron goes, stop.
See, that would have been a damn moment.
Yeah.
You know, right there.
And Ron goes, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And Godfather goes, I'm sorry, Ron, I'm just high.
Now, and this is in the middle of a match.
In the middle of a match, he's doing this. Yeah. I told him one night, I said, Godfather, hit me with the hoe train. And he goes, oh, we can do it tomorrow. I said, that's the finish. You're going over. And he goes, sorry, I'm high. Okay. I'll tell you one time we stopped. We're driving on A1A in Florida, and we drive along. And Godfather usually rode with us. We almost had to check into a secondhand Betty Ford smoke clinic because we had to ride with Godfather. We don't even smoke, and we were freaking eating. They got munchies. We'd stop at Bob Evans and get cakes and pies and everything.
M&Ms.
Oh my God, it was so freaking bad. The one after another. He told us one time we're in downtown New York. He goes, "Can you imagine how many drugs there are in this one city block?" I said, "Can you imagine how many drugs there are in this car?"
Right now.
So we see him stopped on the side road. He's not with us. He stopped on the side road. He's by himself, and there's a cop car ahead of him. And Ron goes, "Oh man, pull over quick. We got to help him." So we pull him over, and this is before vapes, when you had to smoke joints, so you could smell those a freaking mile away. And so we get out of the car, and we're probably 50 feet from his car. It just reeks of weed, and we're outdoors. And I'm going, "Oh my God, he's going to jail." And he's out standing in the lane. He's so freaking high, and he's standing there with this cop. Me and Ron go back there, and Ron goes, "Charles, get out of here.
Yeah.
We'll deal with the
Like
cops
right now.
And he goes, no. He recognized me. He wanted a picture, which is true. The cop pulled him over because he wanted a picture. Now he's got Godfather out, but he's got this guy who's hiring a freaking kite. Like he's got more in him than most Colombian cartels at this point. And so he goes, "No, guys, come on, APA. And we're going like, Godfather, leave. We'll deal with the cops.
And I'm like, you know what? No, I think I'm gonna just probably ease back to the car. I don't know what's happening here now.
And then we realized the cop has a drug dog in the back of his car. And this dog is going, scratching the window. He's like, "I've hit the mother. No, let me out. I'm gonna get doggy medals. I'm gonna become a doggy hero." He's scratching at the window. And we're like, "This is an SNL skit. What the fuck are we doing?" And so finally the cop looks around. He goes, "Even my dog recognizes you."
But he knew what was happening.
Oh yeah, he knew what was happening. He knew.
He knew what time it was. Man.
Who were you typically riding with?
Us who? Well, mostly him, Teddy, mostly. Teddy was our designated driver mostly. But Godfather came in with us a lot. Right. But going to him once again, he was too much for Rocky. Right, yeah.
He was way too much for Rocky.
Yeah, he jumped out.
Rock goes, "I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. Somebody else has got to take this man. I can't take that." He goes, "Come with us. Just come with us. We're fine."
Yeah, he fit right in with us, except for when it came to just when it got to the point where we thought it was going to be cool with, riding with him and everything, we kind of looking at each other, sideways like, "Bro, have we made a mistake here?"
You've never seen a guy smoke weed like that. I mean, it's one like a cigarette, one after another. I've never seen anything like it. It was unbelievable. There was some rap group one time wanted to smoke with him. He almost killed him. Dude, you're like got a serious issue, a real fucking issue. We're in somewhere like Albany or somewhere up in upper state New York, and somebody pulls the fire alarm, make all the wrestlers come out because they wanted to see them. They used to do that at the hotels, when make all the guys come out. So me and Ron are standing out there, like everybody else, like dummies. There wasn't a fire, but we had to evacuate. And we look up, and Godfather is standing next to the window, and he's pressed himself up against the window like this. He's like 300-something pounds, and he's butt naked. And everybody down there can see him. And the police chief's like, "Guys, we've got a large black." He goes, "Yeah, you know what? Just forget it.
Just leave him.
Leave him there. Just leave him there."
Yeah, this might not be a good outcome if you go up there.
Michael Cole recently told a story where he was driving you guys around for a little while.
Yeah, he did.
How did Michael Cole get paired with you?
We liked him.
Yeah,
we liked him. The thing about it is, people say, "Oh, you had somebody driving you around." Yeah. Because not because you didn't like him, because you did like him.
Right.
We liked Michael.
Yeah, and then plus they, like, once again, they knew that, hey, we just was guys, that, hey, we'll go out and just wanted to have fun, and love being around people as much as we could, right? And sometimes, with Cole, right, I understand him, sometimes the job got up under his skin, so it was a good thing to get away from that. So that was a good avenue for him to come with us. He have a couple beers, and we shoot the shit right. You know what I mean? Because, he get in there with us, and it's not just a business, it's just having fun. Do you have
a business idea that you've been wanting to launch? Shopify makes it simple to turn your vision into reality with everything you need to start selling from day one. When that first customer is ready to buy, Shopify Checkout helps customers complete their purchase, and returning buyers can check out in seconds with saved details, which means they can buy again with just one tap. Have you visited cvvmerch.com yet? That's the place where you can grab merch from the show, like this one here, my favorite t-shirt design ever, the robot skull. The website is hosted by Shopify, and they really help you to have a seamless buying experience. And knowing that it's going to be a smooth checkout for you gives me the confidence to not have to worry about the transaction or the merchandise, which means I can put my focus into recording new interviews like this one. With Shopify, nothing stands between your idea and a real business. So go make it one. Start your free trial at shopify.com/insight. That's a free trial. Start it today at shopify.com/insight.
I feel like the APA gimmick could have lasted forever. Why did it have to come to an end?
No, it was, we did it, what, 6 years, right? Something like that, right, like 5, 6 years, right? And it come, and it was good though at that point, to where it had come to that, because it come to the point to where we was on top with doing it, and we had a lot of success with it. And myself, having already gone through, being world champion, had good singles thing behind me. He had been through the ropes. His thing was struggling, coming up through the ranks, man, and it was time and was perfect for him to go on and do his thing, and it was perfect timing for him to go on from there, from that momentum we had, and to go on and do what he did.
Yeah, it's crazy, John, because if you look at a picture of Bradshaw and you look at a picture of JBL, you don't even look like the same person. Like, it's such a departure from what that character was. Was that intentional?
Yeah, I got lucky with that. I got lucky with, I dyed the hair black, the tag with Barry Windham, which I think, was probably a mistake. There probably should have been a second iteration of the Blackjacks, maybe more of a motorcycle iteration of the Blackjacks or something. They had us dye his hair to look like the originals, Mulligan and Lanza. And I kept that dyed hair all that time, and kept it with Ron, and just kept doing it. I'm very fortunate that I was able. I don't know if it was gray or I don't know what color it was, because I dyed it for so long. But I was very lucky with it. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm sitting there, and I'd had long hair forever, and Vince asked me to cut it. We had this idea of JBL and all this stuff, and I'm sitting there at the barbershop, and I've got this like feet of hair, on the ground. And Stephanie McMahon calls me, but I can't answer it because I'm getting my hair cut. And anyway, finally I check it, and they're still cutting my hair, but I thought it must be important. And so I pick it up. She goes, "John, it's Stephanie. Don't cut your hair." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I'm looking around like that. And she goes, "I'm just kidding." And I'm like, she had no idea I'm in the barbershop. I don't even know if she's ever even heard this. And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest ribbon ever." And I don't even know if she's ever even heard that.
It's just amazing that you guys have had amazing singles careers, amazing career as a tag team as well. Not everybody gets to do that. Like, I feel like you get pigeonholed into one or the other. How were you guys able to make both work so well?
Well, you know what, man, and look, and somewhat similar to what he was saying about with Barry, right? I was fortunate enough coming out of Florida Championship Wrestling, right, to got paired with Butch. Now that was a very good learning stage for me, because Butch was accomplished in the business and been in there for a while, and it was a good state in my career early to learn a lot, to be with him, right? But the thing of it when it comes to tag team is that, and anyone in the business can tell you, it's a rare thing that when you finally can get with someone to where it's not just being put together and having to learn each other, it's a perfect fit. And that is a rare thing to happen, okay? And that's what happened with us. And we were very, very fortunate. And I think that's why it resonates so good to come across the screen with people, and they can tell, hey, this thing is real from the sense of that standpoint, And so we were very fortunate in that regard. And I've had a lot of people like Barry, who was tagged up with him, man, that, coming up, that helped me along the way, which in the singles, that translated into me going on, man, to do pretty good in that. So it's been that kind of thing,
Yeah, you know, you look at great tag teams, and you know, a lot of them are brothers. You know,
Yeah.
the Funks, the Briscoes, Harlem Heat, Steiners, the
Hardys.
Hardys.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of them, are, you know, brothers for very good reason because they're close. They know what the thing is.
Exactly.
You know, Ron and I, there aren't two brothers that are any closer than me and Ron.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was very easy to be out there with somebody that you know very well, somebody that you also trust implicitly with everything that you might have or ever have, and also you're on the same wavelength. You know, we were always, you know,
Right.
had the same ideas about matches, same ideas about finishes, same ideas about heat and things like that.
Has there been talk of putting the APA in the Hall of Fame together?
Now I don't see why not. You know, well, why wouldn't it be?
You need a
You know?
table and a door in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's it.
It'd be the greatest
Yeah.
place ever.
You know what I mean? You're right.
Ron, when you won the WCW World Championship, there was pure joy on your face after that 1, 2, 3. Take me to that moment. What are you feeling?
Yeah, listen, and this is true. Okay, I don't think there's like every few months, man, that I don't go back and just look at that clip, because it's one I can honestly say that in this business, like I said earlier, that it was a real moment in this business. Okay, that's why it came across as it did, you know, with the boys, with myself, with the fans, you know, in this climate we're in now where we're telling everything about this business, which I still can't bring myself to do. Although everything has been said, I still got a problem with seeing stuff. That's just the way I was taught.
Yeah.
You know, hey, this was a guarded fraternity and you was very lucky to get in it, because if you weren't accepted by the guys, you wasn't gonna make it, you know? And so I still struggle with doing that today. But for me, man, it was coming in on a spontaneous thing, being told at the last moment that something like this was gonna happen. No one knew it.
Like right before the match?
No one at all.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's where you got the realism of it, because no one would have never suspected that at a house show.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, one thing, you know, during COVID, we got very bored, and I wanted to start doing stuff. And we do appearances now, probably once or twice a month. The only reason I do them is because I want to see Ron. You know, I want to go spend the weekend with Ron. We either watch college football, do something. We just have fun sitting at a table, you know, talking to fans the whole time. I have a lot of fun with Ron, and I miss Ron and being around the camaraderie of the boys and all that.
Yeah.
But at these appearances, I don't think there's been one, and we've done I don't know how many, that some fan has not come up to Ron and said, that moment when you beat Vader was one of the most important moments in my life. Right. And I can't tell you, every single autograph session, every weekend, somebody, at least one person will come up and tell Ron how much that meant to him.
Wow.
That he was the one
man.
that broke that barrier. And that meant the world to them.
Yeah,
because wrestling was their thing.
Yeah.
They needed Ron.
How does that make you feel, Ron?
And you know, man, and at that moment, you know, I can't say now, obviously I know now, but at that moment, I was just like anyone else, right? You know, you wanted to work your way up through the card, right? And get to the top and, you know, and be a champion, right? Had no idea how that would have resonated as it did. And to this day, as partners stated, there's not 1 month or one show, and I get letters every week from someone saying they were at a bad place, dark place in their life, how it changed them and inspired them, and not just black people. You understand me?
That's right.
All people of all walks of life. You know, so it's really special and it really means a lot.
That's powerful.
You know, yeah, man. Yeah, it has continued to gain momentum.
Yeah.
You know,
You know, and Ron is such a smart guy. You know, one thing I love about him, he's always been a mentor both to me, but to a lot of people, you know, to everybody out there. People come to Ron for advice for very good reasons. He's a very smart, a very sensible person. When we first started doing the APA, you know, there weren't a lot of black and white tag teams. You know, you had Russians were with Russians, Canadians were with Canadians, Mexicans, Japanese, English with English, whites with whites, blacks with blacks.
Some reason they were afraid of it.
That's right. For whatever reason. Now you had Thunderbolt and Briscoe, you know, back in the 70s, and you had Coco and
I know you tell.
Owen and Owen.
Yeah, and you had the Dudleys. Yeah.
And the Dudleys in ECW.
Yep.
So you had some of that, but they mentioned to Ron about making something about the race, and he was so smart. He goes, absolutely not. We've absolutely killed it. right on the spot.
No.
Because he said, and he was correct, if you make it about race, it's about race.
Yeah.
It's not about race, it's about friends.
Yeah.
And Ron never let them do that.
No.
And which I thought was really a wise decision.
John, you had a successful career as a tag team competitor, and you were great in the mid card. But did you know that JBL character was going to take you to that next level?
I knew I was going to have the opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. I knew I'd have the opportunity. I knew because they made the character for Eddie Guerrero. So I knew I had the opportunity. They called me specifically we got a match at Staples Center in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whenever it was. And I just got lucky. Brock had left the company to go pursue, become UFC champion.
No, he didn't get lucky, man. Listen, he didn't get lucky.
He's being too humble.
No, he didn't get lucky. Like I said before, okay? And which is cool. I understand where he's coming from. Well, he had put his work in, okay? Germany, Japan, traveling all around, doing the things that people don't get to see, living in and out of a car, sleazy-ass hotels and motels and that kind of thing, right? And he had gone through multiple partners, and in and out with the single thing. It was an absolute perfect moment for that. Any other phase, I believe, would have altered that run that he had. The timing was perfect.
Yeah.
He was prepared for it.
Yeah.
You understand?
And Ron had set me up perfectly.
Yeah, he's
with
prepared.
With the APA quit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you needed somebody for Eddie Guerrero, and Vince called me and asked me if I wanted to take a shot at it. And so I knew I had the chance.
Yeah.
Now whether it's going to be successful or not, was up to what was going to happen in that match.
Do you have a favorite Eddie Guerrero story?
Oh my God. He used to call me all the time. Eddie loved the JBL character. He called me one time. He's like 2:00 in the morning. He goes, "Essay, I got something for you." He's a groomsman in my wedding. Ron was my best man, and Eddie was the groomsman in my wedding with Undertaker and a bunch of other guys. And I go, "What is it?" He goes, "Tell him my ancestors come over here in a boat, not an inner tube." And I said, "Eddie, you're going to get me killed. You're actually going to get me killed." And he goes, no, Essay, good stuff. Eddie used to give me the craziest stuff. He came up with the idea of throwing the guy back across the border. That was Eddie's idea.
That was Eddie's idea.
Yeah, the whole thing with Chavo Sr. came up. I don't know if it's Chavo Sr. or Eddie came up with the idea of his mother having a heart attack in El Paso, but it was a great story because we're backstage and, we're not selling any tickets at Staples Center. People aren't buying me yet. And Chavo came up with an idea. I think he kind of came up with an idea. It's a little bit off what he and Piper did back in the 70s in the Coliseum. And I think that's kind of where he got it. I don't know because I never talked to him about it. But they said, "Hey, we got an idea." So I'm back there. It's just me, Chavo Sr., Eddie's brother, not his nephew, and Eddie. And they tell us this idea. We're in El Paso on Mother's Day weekend. We're going to honor our father, Eddie Guerrero. And it's Mother's Day. We're going to give mom some flowers. We want you to give mom a heart attack. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like 10,000 Latinos.
Yeah, let's see how this works.
Yeah. I knew how rough it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, but the best part was Chavo telling the story. He goes, "Then you can get like a little heat on mom." But he's only saying that to stir up Eddie. And Eddie goes, "Chavo, I told you, he's not going to touch mom. Mom's 70-something years old. John's not going to." He goes, no, Big John's a good worker. He can like hit with a little clothesline or something. And Eddie goes, "Chavo, no, John's not going to do anything to mom. He's going to hold her while she goes." He goes, no. Okay, how about just a boot and mom gets a little color?
And by the way, where was this? Where was it?
Oh, yeah. In El Paso.
Exactly.
In El Paso on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And
Let's see how this goes.
Eddie gets up to fight his brother. They're about to fight. Eddie knows they've been fighting since they were kids. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm in a freaking Guerrero fight here. And I'm the only one there. They're like mad at each other. Yeah.
You had so much heat on you. Like so much heat.
When Eddie's mom went down, what happened was I grabbed her like that. And what I did was I was allowing her to grab my hand and go down. It looked like I was manhandling her, but I was allowing her. I'm going to take care of her. I've got every Guerrero brother in the world backstage. I'm not worried about these 10,000 fans. The Guerrero brothers I was worried about. And I'm allowing her to go down. And I remember sitting there and thinking, there's not a Guerrero that can't work. I mean, she looked like she had a heart attack. I'm sitting there and I'm in on it, obviously. And I've got her down. And the whole place, was kind of heat, and Ron's been there in buildings like this. And all of a sudden the place just gets, silent. You could have heard a pin drop in the building. The place got silent.
Yeah.
And
it was the silence. And it wasn't the silence off of just quiet. It was the silence of, hey, you know what? we're all gonna just attack his ass at the same time.
That's
okay?
right.
That
Oh.
kind of silence.
It was
Right.
unbelievable. And Eddie's on the ground and he goes, "S.A., you better get the fuck out of here."
Like now.
And we had extra state troopers around the ring. We had cops. They're going, "John, you've got," because you could feel the place was about to riot. But we got to get it on camera. There's no reason to do it if you don't get it on camera. And I've got guys. I didn't tell them that, but that's what I'm doing. I'm making sure we got all this stuff filmed. They're going, "John, you've got to get out of this building." So they got me to the back, and the place is literally, I mean, you could feel it bubbling. By now they're starting to get loud, and they're starting to get ready to come over the rail, and these cops are trying to get me out of the building. They got me in my car, and my car is running. They take me to the city limits sign, and the police did, and they go, and I stopped, and I said, "Guys, nobody followed us. I'm good." They said, "Do not come back." And the police at the city limits took me to Simmons. I said, "Do not."
They were even pissed off.
That's right. They said, "Do not." They said, "Do not come back. We think you will be killed."
Yeah.
They said, "Drive all the way to Odessa," which we had planned anyway. I had to drive all the way to Odessa to fly out. I drove to Odessa by myself because the police in El Paso. 2 years later, we worked there and they wouldn't book me there. They thought I'd be killed. They thought something would happen to me. I had that much heat.
That's amazing.
It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. But I'll tell you a funny story that I hardly ever told is I go about 3 miles after the cops had stopped, and I look up and there's a border checkpoint, which is not a big deal. They had them, inland in Texas, not a big deal, except for the fact all my stuff's in the trunk and I'm in wrestling trunks and wrestling boots and no shirt. And I pull up to this border checkpoint.
Explain that.
Oh my God. And it's a Hispanic officer. And I'm not going to tell him that I gave Eddie Guerrero's mom a heart attack. This guy might shoot me out here on this road. I just left a building that may be rioting right now. And so the guy comes up and he goes, "Is there an explanation?" And I said,
No.
"No."
What he did?
"Do you really want to hear it?" He goes, "Just put your shirt on and go." That's all
And
he
get the
said.
hell out of here.
Just get the hell out of here. No idea what you're doing.
Oh, that's amazing. I want to talk to you guys about your finishers. Both of them are devastating. Ron, how'd you come up with the Dominator?
Well, you have to, when you're coming up with finishes, right? You got to, man, it's a process of just thinking of all of everything. What everybody uses, man, was similar to everything, right? So, I've been doing the spine buster. I had originated that thing, man, down in Florida. And Bob Roop, like I said, Bob Roop asked me, "Well, where'd you come up with that move?" I said, "Well, it's a street move. That's the first
You invented the
thing.
spine
That's the first
buster?
thing you do."
Wow.
Did that in Florida. And I said, that's the first thing you want to do on the street is get people off their feet, So I started doing that, right? And then people started doing different versions of it and everything. So when I came up with, and WWE coming up with another one, right? I said, all right, so let me just come up with something in the reverse of it, right? But let me do something where if somebody's gonna try to copy this, their ass is gonna have to have some strength, okay? Right, so that's how come I went that direction, because I knew that it wasn't gonna be too many people trying to pick up 300-pound men on a regular basis. We're doing that, right? And it wasn't too many people willing to take it.
No. He broke Road Dogg's toes one time. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Because it's Road Dogg. Road Dogg used to call that spine buster. He goes, "I'm gonna hit you spine buster." And Road Dogg would say, "It's not a spine buster, it's a fuck you." It's like, "Fuck you, Road Dogg." He would hit Road Dogg with that spine buster so freaking hard. Road Dogg would lay there like he was outlined in chalk. He would just lay there the rest and not move. It was so funny.
Who do you think took the Dominator the best or the worst? Like some guys were like landing on their head.
Well, it wasn't, the thing of it was, right, it wasn't a matter of them taking it the right way, right? Because there ain't no good way. It's all up to me, to be sure that I don't kill them. You understand me? If I screw up, it's bad news. You understand? That's why I say you had to have your ass up under you if you were going to do that move. You understand? Right. You had to have the strength, you had to have the balance, and some athleticism to do it. All right? If I was having a bad day, it was going to be bad news, okay, for whoever was taking. Right. Yeah. But so that's really the origins of why and how I came up with it, right, yeah, because I thought first it's showing strength, and then, you not only are you going to have to get them up there, you've got to hold them there for a period of time, And not only that, you got to come down with them at the right point to where they're leveled out, to where it doesn't hurt them or injure the neck and face. So it was a lot going into it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you got to be very strong to do it.
Yeah.
There's a reason nobody does it now.
Yeah.
You got to be very strong and very athletic to be able to do that.
We'll get right back to the episode in just a minute. Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. Has this ever happened to you? Where there's a show or an event that you want to watch, but it's only available on a certain streaming service, and you can't believe how much a subscription to that streaming service costs? NordVPN has you covered. With NordVPN, you just log in and change your virtual location to somewhere where it costs less to sign up, and boom, there you go. You can do it from any device, your laptop, phone, or tablet. And the great thing about NordVPN is it's more than just a VPN now. With their next-gen antivirus, NordVPN warns you about potential scams and protects you against fake online stores. Next-gen antivirus scans your files for malware and deletes the dangerous ones. It also blocks phishing sites, trackers, and even scam phone calls. It's like having your own personal bodyguard. NordVPN is now your all-in-one app for digital security. Not bad for the price of a cup of coffee every month. This is an exclusive deal that you can only get by going to nordvpn.com/CVV. So head there now to take advantage of it before it's gone. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/CVV.
Is there someone that took a particularly stiff clothesline from hell?
Oh, yeah, Shane McMahon. Oh, yeah, I almost killed him. Yeah, Shane told me, he said, you got to hit me harder than you've ever hit anybody in your life. And Ron's going,
And they almost killed us.
yeah, Ron goes, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. So, I mean, we're at SummerSlam or some major pay-per-view. Shane's running around. He's running full speed. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I hit him so freaking hard. I never hit anybody like that in my life. But he told me, he's like threatening me. All right, you got to hit me, you got to hit me, you got to hit me. It's all he kept telling me all day was, you got to hit me the hardest clothesline you ever hit. I hit him, and as soon as I did, Ron goes, we're fired.
No, I just told him, look, just go back there and start packing. I'm just going to go back in and start packing my shit. Okay? Yeah. The only thing I just recall seeing was this part of Shane's right here disappearing so fast. Right? I was just standing there shaking my head like, it's been a good run. It's been a good run, man. Nice knowing you.
We're working a match one time with a couple of extras or something, and Ron hits one of them with that big freaking Dominator or something like in the middle of the match. Something went wrong or something. The guy did something wrong, threw him down. And he comes and tags me, and I go, what do you want me to do? And he goes, cover him, I guess. Okay, he's dead.
What happened when you got to the back with Shane?
Oh, Shane thought it was the greatest thing ever. You know, Shane's nuts. Yeah, Shane thought it was the greatest thing ever. Oh, it's awesome. That's awesome. It's so good.
It was just good for me to go back there and see his ass still walking.
That's right.
You know, that's
right.
what I was glad to see.
Yeah.
Right, and that he could talk. You know? Right.
There's a clothesline from hell that you gave to Rey Mysterio, and he goes flying.
For real. Okay? You know, but most people, see, here's, and look, it was always funny, right? When guys would come up to John and I'd, be over there just waiting for it, because I knew it's coming, right? Because they're always nervous and they're fucking scared, about it when they find out, right, that he's going to, give them the clothesline, right? So they'll come up or ease around me in a roundabout way. They run, is there any, like particular way maybe I should kind of, take the clothesline? Should I kind of, stretch the neck a little bit or kind of, do a little slight jump and then? I said, bro, listen, you're going to be lucky if you even remember taking that fucking clothesline. So with me adding stuff like that to it, right? Yeah, just to make him sweat.
Oh, yeah. They thought Ron was going to be the one that would calm everything down. And they didn't know Ron would stir them up, but Ron would do it in such a nice voice, a gentleman's voice. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. He's going to die. He'd skate. Ron would scare them to death. Ron one time was talking to our match, and we used to like, okay, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, beat the shit out of you. All this, we cuss like crazy. We were talking to our match. The wrestlers are notorious. The guys who didn't cuss would cuss backstage. And Ron's telling me, goes, now, when you come in, he's got that deep voice, and he's got this huge freaking body. John's going to beat the shit out of you, and you come in and beat the shit out of you. And these guys were looking at us like, oh my God. I said, Ron, I think you scared them to death. He goes, why?
Did guys know what they were getting into when it was a match with the APA?
Well, look, man, you know what? Here's the thing with us, and same with him. I was taught, okay, and I mean Hiro Matsuda, under his tutelage and his training, when you are in that ring, you doing your best portrayal of realism, okay? It ain't about getting out there throwing 1,000 punches, but you throw one, make that shit look good. All right? And that's exactly the way I try to work. Now, some would call it stiff, or whatever you'd like to call it, but I call it as real as it can get. And that's the way we both worked. And that's the way he was taught. All right? And a lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was, like stiff or whatever. But guess what? We never did anything that we couldn't take. Right? We never injured anybody, never hurt nobody. That's called taking your time to learn what you're doing. Right, because, that's the way it was taught. I can hear his words now. If you're doing this, the people right there that's sitting at ringside have got to look real hard to see that you didn't hit him. That's the way I was taught, and that's the way things were back in the day, man. That's why you had a lot of arguments and, and people got into these conflicts back in the day about reporters asking you, hey, is that stuff real? Hell, that's the way guys work.
Yeah.
That's the way guys and girls worked back then. Okay.
The thing that's so great about you guys is how real you are, right? From like what you're talking about right now with the hard hitting style in the ring to like the juxtaposition of how much fun you guys were having behind the scenes. So what was a car ride like with you guys?
Oh my God, bro. Hey, just being us. You know what I'm saying, man? Hey, and that, ex Michael Cole. Right. It's fun. You know what I mean?
Isn't there a story of you getting left somewhere?
Oh
man, left in a snowstorm in Massachusetts.
Listen.
Yeah, we're driving in some snowstorm in Massachusetts on the turnpike, and we're driving along this way on the turnpike, and nobody's on this turnpike because the weather's so bad. We're trying to get to Boston, and I tell Teddy, I said, hey Teddy, I said, because we had the music playing as normal. Me and Ron are drinking our beer, and we were feeling good. I said, Teddy, pull over, I got to take a leak. He goes, again? I go, Teddy.
He was mad.
He was really mad. He was pouting, and the little peanut head. Yeah. And so I said, Teddy, we're driving 40 miles an hour. We're never going to get there anyway. Pull over so I can take a leak. He goes, we're never going to get there. And he pulls over. So I get out, take a leak. Ron gets out, take a leak. I get back in. Teddy drives off. And I'm sitting there just looking at him. He goes, what? He's frustrated with us. I said, it's not funny. He said, what's not funny? I said, leaving Ron on the side of the road. It's cold out there. What are you doing? He goes, man, I didn't leave Ron. He looks back. He goes, where's Ron? And I go, you left him, you dummy. He's going to kill you.
And, now I'm thinking, okay, because we're ribbing each other all the time, right? So now this is a blizzard. It is snowing like it, right? So the car's pulling off, and I'm trying to, hurry up and get finished, and I can't because I'm slipping everywhere. So the only thing you see was the taillights just disappearing into the snow. I'm like, okay, this is not funny, right? So when you turn back, you can't turn around now. So he had to take what? He had to back up.
He had to back up. We're scared we're going to get hit by a truck. We can't see nothing.
Going reverse on the turnpike?
We're backing up on a turnpike in a blizzard. And I'm going, Teddy, he's going to kill you. He is absolutely going to kill you, and you deserve it. You deserve to die. And Teddy, he finally gets back there, and Ron has been standing there so long. He's got his hand on his hip, and he's got snow built up on his head and on his arm, and he's just standing there like a statue. He is so mad. And Teddy stops about 5 feet from him. He goes, tell him that I did not do this on purpose. So I roll down the window, and snow's blowing in like that. I said, he's been laughing about leaving you.
But to his benefit, it was so damn cold, right, that I couldn't say anything to him because I couldn't talk because I was so damn cold and so stiff, from standing out there. Now, when my ass started out, we had some
Oh, my
work.
God.
Okay, right.
We're driving, and
Yeah.
Ron's back there. He is soaking wet. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been in the snow. He's cold as he can be. We got the heater on, trying to make sure Ron doesn't get pneumonia. And Teddy is scared to death. He's driving as fast as he can drive, but he can't drive that fast. And I said, guys, listen, let's just settle this, okay? We need to get this out of the way. How about we just pull over and you two fight? And Teddy goes, would you shut up? He's going to kill me. And Ron doesn't say a word. He's just looking at him.
With his cheap ass. That's the only reason he rode with us, man, so he don't have to pay tolls and he didn't have to pay for gas.
Teddy never paid for nothing. Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
One time we stopped off. Teddy would, like, when you get a car and go to the arena and come back, not when you got to drive, Teddy would pay for the gas. Like then it's like 72 cents, you know? And so one time Teddy had to pay for gas his turn, and we had like an almost empty tank, and I was filling up as much as I could with super unleaded, you know, trying to charge as much as I could. And I got to like $39.15 or something. I couldn't get any more. I wanted to get to 40 so bad, just so Teddy had to spend 220s. And Ron looks back and goes, pour it on the ground. Oh yeah, Teddy didn't pay for tolls. He didn't pay for food. He didn't pay for nothing.
No, and it's common thing that he will pull most of the time, right? He'd be talking just like we're talking to each other like right now, right?
Yeah.
And his ass would know where all the tolls and everything is and he would look at the gas hands and he would time it just right. So by the time we got ready to get gas or get to a toll bridge, we'd look back there and his ass is playing sleep.
Yeah, he's acting like he's asleep.
Yeah, right.
Teddy, we're not going to charge you. Just quit faking asleep.
What do you guys think is the biggest difference between the era that you guys came up in and the era we have now?
Oh man, I think the biggest is that, you know, society has changed and it's thinking, you know, and I think that the era, you know, in which we come up in, right, people's mindset was a lot different. You know, it was more, you know, like the working class, hard-working person came to those shows back then. They came to expect to go through their wide ranging of emotion. They want to see a good guy and a bad guy. Go at it. You understand? I mean, a real definitive good guy and bad guy. And they want to go through all of those emotions. You know, see the heel do his thing, man, and then see the baby face come back up, you know, which we come back up from the depths, you know, all of that, you know. And I think I'd like to see more of that. You know,
yeah, I would too. Another thing about the boys and girls is that we didn't have social media. You know, we didn't even have cell phones when we first started. And so all we had was each other. You know, and that's one of the reasons the stories are so wild. We had incredibly interesting characters that had nothing to do, very bored. You know, we didn't have 60 channels of sports. You couldn't even go to a hotel and, you know, catch a ESPN Sports Center recap, you know, unless you were lucky and caught it at the right time. And these guys now have their social media. They have their own platforms. They have their brand that they have to build. And all that's very valuable. Yeah. We didn't have any of that. All we had was each other, and I think that's one of the differences.
Changed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and it's nothing against, you know, everything changed, you know, and it evolves, you know. But I would just love to see the interaction for the fans more, you know, in that way where they go through those emotions that they always used to love to come to see, you know. But, you know, that's the mindset of that as opposed to then and now. And like John said, you know, with with internet and, you know, with everything now, the way it's changed, you know, everybody seems to know everything before hell you get in the ring now.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of a hard thing, you know, to get out there and do some things, man, when everybody's, you know, told everything.
Yeah.
You know?
I like to say nostalgia is a hell of a drug. So when fans are walking up to you guys at the table, what's the one thing that they keep coming back to? What's the one thing you hear the most?
I hear the most, man, is that, hey, you know what? They loved it, you know, watching it then. And then it's like we were just simply saying, you know, they don't want to go, you know, they don't want the ending of their stories too much told, you know? They always wanted to get into what we were doing. Everybody wanted to find out, you know, they would come up to you all the time, actually, it's just real, fake, or whatever, right? But they still want to leave some mystery in there, you know, somewhere.
Yeah. Is there a particular match or moment that you guys hear about 10, 20 times a day when you're signing?
Fast forward from us. Oh, God, what? Which
you know,
one is it?
Yeah, we always hear about Public Enemy.
Yeah.
You know, we always hear that one, you know, somebody always wants to bring that up, which is fine. You know, it just, you know, shit happens in life. And that's probably the one. I'll tell you one time we were leaving a building and somebody cut us off and was like, they were being like assholes to us or something, and flipped us off or something. And Ron, we'd already started drinking. Ron goes, just hit him. So I hit him and bam. And when I do, they pull over. I thought, well, heck, we'll pull over too, you know? And so we pull over and all of a sudden all these guys start getting out of this van and go, this is going to be a hell of a fight. It's like 2-on-6. Well, we done started it. We got to finish it now, or at least whatever happens. We get out of the car and they're going, it's the APA. they want to take pictures with us. So we're like, I wrecked their car. Like, remember when we hit Mark Henry up in Canada?
Wait, when were we going?
We were going to Nova Scotia, Halifax. And Mark Henry and D'Lo passed us and threw a bunch of chicken bones out the car on us. So they'd been like to a KFC or something. Yeah. They threw a bunch of stuff out on our car. And Godfather is in the passenger side and Ron's in the back, or vice versa. And we go, hit them. So they're going about 75 miles, 80 miles an hour, and I'm hitting them going down the road. And, you know, once you get behind somebody, you can't stop if somebody's pushing you, you know. So every time their governor would kick in, I'd ram them. And Taka Michinoku was in the back of the car, you know. He's supposed to learn how to speak English riding with the guys. He never learned how to speak English. He found God that night. But he's like, they're like, oh, my God. And Mark Henry, world's strongest man, has got the steering wheel. I thought he was going to rip it off. D'Lo's head's bobbing. It's like
bobbleheading for real.
That's right. About 30 or 45 minutes, we're pushing them all down the freaking Nova Scotia highway.
Jeez. But that was, bro, listen, that was a common thing with some of us sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, right, yeah. You know, some of the things that people will probably say, you know what, you guys really are nuts. All right? Yeah, you're right, yeah. You know. So
I'll tell you a good story. I think I can tell. I don't know about the language, but we're up in a bar, and Ron and I got separated, you know, and he was over playing pool, or I was playing pool, or something like that. And
Red Deer?
Red Deer, Canada, yeah.
I'm Canadian, so these stories are fantastic.
Yeah. And
so you're familiar with Red Deer?
Yeah, I am.
So
we're in this small town.
We're in this bar, and these guys.
And it's a Red Deer.
And me and Ron are separated, so these guys want to take advantage of it, and they're going to jump me, and they do. And they get around me, and when they do, I punch one of them. I get a pretty good shot on him. He goes down, but the other guys all pulling knives on me. So now I'm like, I'm going to die in freaking Red Deer. This sucks. So they got knives on me and they've got me pinned up against the wall. And I'm like, holy shit. And I see Ron across the bar and he's running toward me. Now, my side of the knives is not the place you really want to be. You know, because that side is not going to do well. Ron runs all the way across the bar, grabs a beer bottle off the table. It was like an Avenger. I mean, it was like unbelievable. Talk about a friend. And he steps right in front of me, and he cuts the damnedest promo you ever heard in your life. I'm
just
like,
us two, right?
Yeah, that's right. Just us two.
Yeah,
and they're sitting there. All these guys got these knives, and Ron's standing in front of me with his beer bottle, and he cuts his promo. I'm going, that's the greatest promo I've ever heard. You know, I've drank so much. I'm like, that's pretty cool. We need to tape that. And so then at the end of it, he goes, and I'm going to hit the first white motherfucker that moves. And when he says it, I'm like, yeah, bitches. Yeah. He'll hit the first. And I start looking around and I realize I'm the only white motherfucker in here. And I thought, why would he hit me? And I thought that doesn't make any sense. I go, but Ron's like a smart guy. This is what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, Ron's a smart guy, but why would he hit me? And Ron realizes what he says now. He looks around and he goes, not you. And those guys looked at us. It's like an APA skit. They look at us like, these are the craziest two people we ever see. They go, just get out of here.
Yeah. They look, you know, when they see us standing there and they all got their knives out. Right? Ready to do business, right? So when they saw us do the exchange between us, and I'm like, no, not you, man. and then the guy says, they looked at each other and then looked around like, you know what? These are the craziest we've ever seen. Okay, just get the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here.
You know? You guys are wild.
Yeah, just get out. You know?
We talked about Ron winning the world championship. What was that night like for you, John, when you won the world title?
You know, it was a dream come true. You know, I'd always wanted to be the guy. I'd always dreamed of it, and I'd been, you know, the man in smaller territories and things like that. I just, you know, I didn't know if I'd ever get a chance. And fortunately, you know, Ron helped boost me into that position, and a lot of mentoring that Ron had obviously helped me as well. But you know, all of a sudden I got this title, and you know, a lot of it happened. You know, Taker's told the story in Chicago when I got fired from CNBC, and I cut the promo. Instead of going out there and begging for mercy and saying I'm sorry, you know, I went the opposite way and said anybody doubts me as a great American would be like calling Mother Teresa a whore. And
That's pretty.
yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah,
it's about as strong as it could be.
Yeah,
I don't think you could say that now.
You couldn't say anything I said back then now.
Yeah.
And Undertaker was standing back there with Vince, and Vince, you know, Taker's told the story as well. And he said, am I going to put the title on him? Taker says, you think? And, you know, that was what did it, was that promo in Chicago. Was I knew that was sink or swim night. And then I had the right guy with Eddie Guerrero. You know, like I say, I got very, very
perfect
lucky.
guy.
The perfect guy.
Yeah.
You were such a memorable champion that I think people are shocked when they find out you were only the champion once. Like it was one very memorable run.
They don't take with that, you know, because right now, as he said, when I became champion myself, it's just like it's on people's mind as it occurred yesterday. It's how you do it, man. You know, and they come. Same thing with him. They come up to the tables now and tell him, hey, just like you said, what a great heel he was, man, and how they hated his guts. See, that's what it's about. And they really hated it.
Yeah.
You understand me? So that's what I mean when I say real heel.
Yeah.
Okay? And they you could tell they hated his ass, I mean, with emotional hate. You know,
we had a jumper one night. We had a jumper a bunch of nights. They put extra security on me. You know, Vince would say, if I can keep you alive, we're going to draw some money.
Yeah. I can keep you alive?
Oh, yeah, because I was always getting death threats and, you know, different. And we had to have extra security. So I go in the ring one night and a fan jumped the rail and tried to get to me. And Eddie goes after me. I'm like, Eddie, I'm like in San Bernardino or something. It's like 99% Hispanic. I said, I don't think the fans that are 99% Hispanic understand the Hispanic superstar going after and beating up the fan as a baby face. I said, would you please let me do my job as a heel? He goes, he fucked up our match. He messed up our match. I'm like, please. But by then, little Hebner had turned into Pat McAfee. I mean, and punting this guy's head off. I mean, just absolutely punted his head off. Bam. The security goes and takes them. Back then, they beat guys up. You know, they took them to the back and beat them up. And I've got the microphone. And I said, listen, ain't no security out here. If any of you basically want to jump that rail, I'll beat everybody in this building if it takes me 5 minutes.
Jesus.
And Eddie's sitting there going, good heat essay, good heat essay.
Yeah.
And little Hedmer looks at me and goes, we're the only white guys in here. Would you stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
These stories are amazing.
Hey, man.
Thank you guys so much for making this happen. Congrats on legendary careers.
Thank you, man.
You guys are absolute legends.
Thanks a lot.
I'm going to ask you the question that I ask everybody at the end of these interviews. Gratitude's such a huge part of my life. I wake up every day and I say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for. And it allows you to focus on the things you have in your life. And I do it before I go to bed as well. So, Ron, I'll start with you. What are 3 things right now that you're grateful for?
Look, man, that is a very good question, okay? First, I am extremely grateful for the few friends that I really had growing up as a child. When all hope was given up, there were some in the community, wasn't standout athletes, they wasn't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but what they saw in one little poor black kid was something that he had in an idea of trying to get out of what he was in. I'm grateful for them. Secondly, I want to pat my own self on the ass for coming up and having enough sense to understand the gift that God gave you. Now let's do something with it, all right?
Yeah.
Bless me with a good body, a sound mind. Now it is up to me to get off my ass and do something with it. I'm glad of that.
Yeah.
Thirdly, I'm grateful for having run across great friends like I have here and sitting over there.
Yeah.
You know, all the difference in the world for me, and I've got to put my family in there without a doubt.
Yeah.
You know, right, being a rock there to keep me in place. But those things have worked for me along with my belief in God. And brother, and it's a formula that has worked for me.
I love that. John, what about you? What are 3 things you're grateful for?
One of the things, and I don't know in order, 3 things, and they're all very important to me. One is Ron Simmons. You know, Ron coming into my life was the best thing ever happened to me, both professionally and personally. I've had a best friend. You know, I've had a guy that I can call no matter what. I've had a friend, a true friend, and a true brother. You know, more so than I don't know how family relations and all that stuff. You know, but he's my brother, and I'm so blessed to have Ron Simmons in my life. And I'm very blessed to be able to live a dream. I dreamed when I was a kid to be a professional wrestler. I told my grandfather, we used to watch the Von Erichs and the Funks wrestle before the kids debuted, about the kids being Kerry and Kevin and David. I didn't know David, but I knew Kerry and Kevin. And I told him I want to be a wrestler, and I got to be part of a business that I love very much. And people say sometimes don't meet your heroes or don't your dreams, be careful what you wish for. Everything that I wish was far exceeded by anything I could have ever dreamed. This business has been so wonderful.
Absolutely.
And I still love it. Ron and I still love
Yeah.
just sitting around watching matches and just talking and bullshitting and having fun talking about the matches. It's just, I love the fact that I got to be part of this business, and I still am, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, family that I've had, some wonderful people, a wife and family that's been a very much blessing to me.
Well, Ron, John, thank you guys so much for this.
Hey, man.
Thank you.
Hey, man. There ain't nothing else to say but damn.